All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and our next guest is a writer and biographer who has worked on such books as Anthony Cumia's Permanently Suspended, as well as Tom Dresden's Still Standing. And here he is with us right now, Johnny Russo. Johnny, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm in Florida. I'm a New Yorker. You can tell from my accent, I'm not from Alabama. I feel like, I've been down here since February, right before the real shit hit the fan in New York with the virus. I feel like I'm a mix between Steve Martin's character in My Blue Heaven.
Good morning, sir. Would you like to try a vanilla bran oat crunchy?
What do you think?
And Ray Liotta at the end of Goodfellas when he orders spaghetti and meatballs and he gets, ketchup and noodles.
Wow. What part of Florida are you in?
I'm in an undisclosed location outside of Orlando in a gated community on a river on an Italian villa condo.
Wow.
That the woman I'm currently sleeping with owns.
Well, there you go. And just in time for the quarantine, you get to be you get to be in a beautiful place with the woman you're currently sleeping with and just kind of enjoying the quarantine, I would imagine.
Yeah, listen, you know what? I got a bulldog down here, and we just go out to make a quick food stop and a quick stop at the liquor store, and other than that, I've been in since March.
Wow, there you go, man. And because Florida keeps getting, it seems like the numbers kind of keep on tilting with Florida. Just when you think it's over, Florida gets hit harder again and again and again. Is it because of the old people down there? What's going on?
I think because nobody gives a shit down here. It's really weird. It's like you go out, I'll go out to just buy, a quick stop, and I can't even drive down here. So my broad's got to drive me to the liquor store for me to get a bottle of Tito's. Even when I go, no one's wearing masks. No one's wearing gloves. There's no 6 feet distancing. There's nothing going on. That's part of it. So so no one gives a shit down here. In New York, it's like if you don't wear a mask, it's like you're a Nazi Germany, and they call you out.
Yeah. It's kind of extreme here with the mask wearing. Most places you have to wear them, otherwise you get thrown out.
I like wearing masks because I have a double chin, and years ago, you remember you'd go to, if you were flying to Los Angeles or Vegas, and you go to the airport like JFK, and you see these, Asians coming off, from Air Japan,
right,
and they be wearing masks, and you're thinking, oh, they're so crazy. Why are they wearing masks? Me, I'm thinking, Jesus, I wish that was in fashion. I would love to walk down Park Avenue, go to the Friars Club, and just wear a mask without people thinking I just escaped from the night for Bellevue.
Hey, well, now your dreams have come true. They're in fashion, and now everyone's getting special masks. And
get the ShamWow mask made in Germany and the USA.
But now you've written some cool books. Now, how do you get involved in doing this? Is this like writing for Anthony Cumia? Just walk me through the steps it takes to break into this industry and be a part of a biography like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. It took me 8 years to get a book published. 8 years. I got signed with my literary agency that I have now in 2010, and I didn't get my first book published, which was with Cumia, until November of 2018. And I went through probably 7 different books that just got rejected for different reasons. Even with the Cumia book, once we had that, a lot of people turned us down.
What? As I look at the camera like an idiot. The fucking rookie.
They were going off of, Artie Lang, particularly at that time, he had a book out that didn't do very well. And they were kind of comparing us to him and his book sales. Also Gilbert Godfrey had a book that didn't do well. So they were in the publisher's mind, they were thinking, 6 years ago, this would have been okay, but now we don't know what the market kind of is. but we kind of lucked out and we landed with a guy named Anthony Zaccardi at Postal Press, who is now one of my best friends, and he published our book, and it turned out to be a huge, huge success because Anthony has a huge following. And if you just do a book with a guy that has a huge following, that makes all the difference.
Oh, right. All right. I guess I'll be out here. I have everything. Cookies look great.
Can I help you with something?
I'm having cookies.
You're having cookies.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I was online and I found a friend.
A friend.
Cookie?
You write that. Are you spending a lot of time with Anthony and kind of like, are you the main biographer? Are you the main writer behind it all? Or how's that work? How's that dynamic?
Yeah, me and Anthony would usually be at least once a week for 3 or 4 hours. But I mean, everybody I work with, I become friends with. So, I would go to Anthony's show and he tapes Monday through Thursday, 4 to 6 in Manhattan. So I'd go to the studio, and afterwards we'd either, go to the Friars Club for a drink or somewhere else for a drink. And then we just interview him basically and record the interview, transcribe that, and just kind of piece together almost like a Tetris thing on how the book wants to go. Oh, all right, we'll put this here, we want to start out beginning. So it's kind of a mishmash of how we want to narrate the book. But basically it starts with just hanging out, doing interviews. But the funnest part was just hanging out with Anthony, and going to the Friars Club, or there's an Irish pub across from the studio where all the guys go after the show, and either at his apartment, and just a ton of stories. And he's just a great guy, the funnest guy you want to be around.
That's really cool. And that's what's cool too about when you do have the opportunities to go to the Friars Club and you're kind of around that kind of old school vibe. I've never been to the Friars Club. Tell me what it's like when you walk in and like see all these guys.
It was, I got to the Friars Club a month after September 11th. October 2001, I got it initiated into the Friars Club.
Wow.
Alan King and Freddie Roman got me in. I started out as a comic, and Alan King saw me at the Friars Club. And I remember walking into the lobby, and Alan had this cigar when he could still smoke in those days. And he gave me one of those choice. I'm like, kid, you're going to be a friar. And he told me to call Freddie the next day.
Wow.
And I went down to 55th Street, and I picked up an application. I wrote out right away, and I got in as soon as I could get in.
So, hold on.
And that was my fraternity. That was my frat house.
Dude.
I got kicked out of the Friars more times than over the last 20 years, more times than I can remember, just being drunk and just, hitting on broads. And I mean, but, I was always let back in. But that was my frat house. It's going to be 19 years this October. I mean, wow. I've been in that place. Yeah,
Freddie's still with us. How is it meeting Freddie Roman? Because I talked to him, Freddie, once on the phone a long time ago. Nice guy. He's really nice.
Yeah, they're all good guys. I never met anybody that was like, a schmuck or, or like pretentious. They're all good guys.
Yeah,
I never met anybody that was, a real asshole. I really don't. I never have. I mean, and even, particularly when I was young and before I was turned 21, they made me swear on the Torah, the Bible, the Constitution, that I wouldn't take a sip of alcohol until I turned 21. And, of course I did. But because they would lose their liquor license if anybody found out.
Right,
as a kid, I was the youngest friar for like 10 years. And I would go there 2-3 times a week at least. Thursday nights was a big night there. Usually Tuesdays, Thursdays.
So what was this in like the 90s?
No. This is 2001. I started.
Yeah, so
literally a month.
Oh yeah, you said that. So now, are you still a friar? Like, can you still to this day go into the clubs?
I'm still a friar, but the club is going under some weird stuff right now. Some guys got in the club in leadership positions that just robbed the place blind. It got raided by the FBI. It's been audited, and I guess conveniently, like they say, a pipe burst in downstairs and flooded the entire place. I think that it's almost like the like setting a house on fire to get the insurance money. Almost.
Right.
But they still say the club will be reopened in March, I think. But that place is part of my soul, and it's such a great building. It's it's a national landmark. On 55th between Park and Madison, it's one of those townhouses. It's been there for over 100 years, and it's just a magnificent building. And I would always take any dates, any friends go there. One, because you don't have to pay. There's no cash. They'll just charge you at the end of the month, which I would never pay anyway.
Right.
But so I was like, they're like, Johnny, why you just want to meet at the Friars Club? Well, because I don't have any cash on me, and I'm not going to pay the bill anyway. So this one, let's have 14 vodkas and call it a night.
So you this is great, man. So you were stand up. How long were you doing it? How long were you in the comedy world?
I started out by just I got into the comic strip by just a weird coincidence. Well, I started at the New York Comedy Club on 24th Street, or I think it was 24th Street. I just walked into the joint the summer I graduated high school, and I was like, is there a job here? Can I do anything? Just get some stage time. And Al Martin, who owns a Broadway Comedy Club now, he's like, you can be a bar back and you get 5 minutes at the end of the night. I was like, fine, I'll do it. So I was doing that 6-7 weeks a night. And I was going to go to a Hofstra the next year. But, I met, I got into the comic strip. I met so many great people. I got a manager. I got an agent. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to go to Hofstra. I'm just going to move to the city and just do stand-up comedy. And I got into the comic strip by just complete happenstance. My grandmother's best friend was Kevin James's grandmother. And we got introduced one day at a pizza place with him and Ray Romano. So, wow. And I was walking into the comic strip one day. I was already opening the door to the comic strip, and Kevin James and Lucian Hold, the legendary manager of the comic strip, were walking out. I bumped into Kevin. It's like, hey, Kevin, I'm trying to... And then he introduced me to Lucian. And now all of a sudden, in Lucian's eyes, I'm an important guy because Kevin James knows me.
Right,
and that's how that happened. And so I became friends with Lucian, and that's how I got into the... So I did that until I got a show on HBO in 2005 called House Arrest with Chris Colombo.
There's people in the world that have it worse than me. Like I told you, I believe in Jewish logic, Jewish philosophy. Get hit by a bus, you lose a leg. Thank God you still got one. Hopefully I come back, pick up, and leave the bad behind and look forward to the good.
And this guy, Chris Colombo, was the son of Joe Colombo, the head of one of the 5 families in New York. Right. and this debuted Thanksgiving night, 2005, right after, on HBO, right after Curb Your Enthusiasm, the greatest lead-in you could have at the time.
Yeah, wow.
And the premise of the show was Chris Colombo, the mobster felon, had an ankle bracelet, which is true. He had an ankle bracelet. And he had to be home every night before midnight. Otherwise, the thing would go off and state troopers and helicopters would come down on his compound upstairs. So we'd party in Manhattan and see, for as long as we could, and see if we can get back to the compound upstate before midnight. And HBO bought the show, unbelievably. The head of it, Sheila Nevins, who was the goddess of HBO documentaries, and Judith Regan, who was the head of China. She was an executive producer on that. And They bought the show that aired for one episode, and they didn't pick it up. They picked up it was between us and the Bunny Ranch thing in Vegas.
These are for our naughty, naughty boys. A little training can't hurt anybody.
So after that, I by happenstance, I got into politics. I was a speechwriter for John McCain on his presidential run.
We face formidable challenges. I'm not afraid of them. I'm prepared for them. I'm not the youngest candidate, but I am the most experienced.
Just through political connections, I was actually running state Senate and state assembly campaigns in Westchester, the 91st district and the 38th district, state Senate and state assembly. I was campaign manager on those things, and we lost miserably in 2012. Horrible.
Wow.
So I worked on basically every level of campaign, and I lost every single one. No fault of my own. No fault of my own.
No, yeah, it's not. You
And
can't.
it's just because running in New York as Republicans, you basically have no chance unless you're in Staten Island or Peter King's district or like, you know, little pockets upstate New York. Other than that,
Right.
if you're on Long Island, you know, I mean, Lee Zeldin's a miracle. Thank God for Lee Zeldin. And, you know, other than that, you know, it's very tough.
Yeah, it's very tough.
I never worked on a winning campaign ever.
But now, like, if you look at the world now with this COVID stuff and like Governor Cuomo, I don't know how you feel about him or whatever, but he just recently passed another law here where we got to shut down all these comedy clubs and nightclubs. Wherever you got to pay a ticket to attend is now shut down. So it shut down governors, even their patio outside and all that. What's your take on this, the COVID era and these laws of shutting everything down? And like you said, in Florida, it's very relaxed, and, you know, with the masks and things. Here, they're shutting everything down again. What do you think? If you had a message to Cuomo, what would it be?
Well, the governor is no fan of mine. I remember he had a speech at the Friars Club, and I had a couple of drinks, and I went upstairs and asked him a few questions that he wasn't pleased about. So I know he's no fan of Johnny Russo.
I don't know what they're not understanding. This is not life as usual. None of this is life as usual.
And
so you talked to Cuomo too before?
Oh yeah, you know, as a matter of fact, his father Mario I knew well, and I you know, when he was out of office, Mario was, you know, on a personal level, great guy.
Right.
I think Andrew's kind of a prick.
This is not a joke, and I am not kidding.
On a personal level,
I can see that.
I mean, Andrew, yeah, and you know, but he is no fan of mine, and I'm not a fan of his. I think it's a little ridiculous. I think there's a way to do it safely. There is a way to do it and do it safely, where people can still make some kind of a living and still be some kind of artistic and still do something that they want to do. There is a way to do it. We're working in the parameters of what the government wants to do to keep people safe. There is a way to do that. Just shut it down completely. It's complete horseshit. Yeah. I think it's a cover your ass thing. I did notice that the Nassau County executive, who is a Democrat, did send a letter to Cuomo saying, please, you know, let these people do what they want to do, you know, within the parameters of the safety, 6 feet, the masks, and everything.
Yeah.
That should be allowed. That should be allowed.
Yeah, and that was huge that she did that she wrote that letter, and that she has the back and the support of the comedy club. Yeah, because these comedians need to work. People need to laugh. People need to get out. It's for everyone, not just for, you know, you look at the wait staff, the cooks.
Right. Yeah, it's a trickle down effect. It affects so many more people than behind the scenes than you can even imagine.
Well, you're awesome, man. This was really cool talking to you. You've been around. You've done a lot of cool, crazy stuff too, man. I mean, Friars Club. Meeting all of those comedians, those great comics from back in the day, Freddie Roman, and all the way to writing speeches. For
it's been a wild ride, yeah. And I turn 38 next month, so
wow.
I mean, my liver is probably, you know, in the 70s. My liver needs some quick Social Security checks, but otherwise, you know, I'm at 38 on paper.
Wow, so you're a young guy.
Yes.
And you still got a long way ahead, man. I mean, geez, who knows what's going to happen next for you?
We'll see. It's going to be a wild ride.
Well, Johnny, I appreciate it. Where can people, why don't you just plug your books and plug away?
Just go to Amazon.com and you can type in Johnny Russo, JOHNNYRUSSO, and you can have a buffet of 3 books that you can choose from. The Body Snatcher's Life, Tom Dreesen Still Standing, My Journey from Streets and Saloons to Stage of Sinatra, and Anthony Cumia's book, Permanently Suspended. So all 3 I would recommend, and anybody, you know, from our neck of the woods would certainly love those books.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And hey, if you talk to Anthony, let him know. We would love to have him on.
I'll shoot him a text. I'll tell him. You got to get on Don's show. What's happening.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate it so much, man. Thanks, pal.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. You're awesome. Johnny Russo, everybody.
So I want to ask you this question.
Is it better to be loved or feared?
That's a good question.
Who cares about that right now? All we need to do is laugh. So make sure that you watch Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up right here on GubsRadio.com.
How many times do I have to tell you? People don't respect him. They fear him. There's a big difference. You want to be somebody? Be somebody who works for a living and takes care of his family.
We on TV.